Welcome, travelers, to High Fantasy. I'm Brett.
I clapped and I shouldn't have clapped. You got me clapping.
I need my herb pouch. Daddy's been paying for my salt.
This
I'm part of the poop patrol, ma'am.
And I'm Emily. But I'm like, don't make the robots!
Don't make the robots
crunch! I would take Speak with Dinosaur in a second. I have beef with DC. It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
Join us on our epic world-spanning adventures. Armed with only a bit of long-bottom leaf, we will delve into some of the most amazing worlds of imagination that have ever existed. Before we get into that, don't forget to check out our Patreon if you want to support the channel. And without further ado, let's get into it.
You can clap.
You can.
Yay!
Hello, merry travelers, and welcome back to another episode of High Fantasy. I'm Brett.
And I'm Emily.
And today, we have many things to talk about. But before that, we'd like to give a huge shout out to our $20 Patreon members, Clancy Bloom, Enslaved by the Fae, and Minnie. Thank you so much for supporting us. Help us keep doing the things that we love to do and creating content for everyone. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Without further ado, are you ready for today's topic?
I don't know. What is today's topic?
Do you have any clue what it might be?
Okay. No. We've talked about vampires before. Talked about zombies. Said zombies might be fun. But I truly haven't the faintest idea what we're going to be talking about today.
Now, I went through a whole lot of very fun ideas trying to decide what I wanted to do for my last episode of this podcast before we get to the finale. Well, not last episode of the podcast, but last episode of this mini-series. Don't worry. We're not quitting.
We're done.
Yeah, we're just done. No, for this Halloween special, there's so many good options out there. So many fun movie monsters to talk about, going into the origins and the stories of how they were created. But at the end of the day, I decided to settle on vampires.
Vampires! Oh, I love this.
Vampires. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Now, there are many, many stories of vampires over the years, but let's talk about some historical figures that inspire legends as well as actual stories that go with them.
Okay.
Now, the most iconic vampire, I think, in history is probably Dracula.
It's gotta be Dracula. It's Count Dracula.
Count Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the thing that kind of cemented the modern idea of what a vampire is supposed to look like in the minds of media and our people today. Now, Vlad the Impaler was the person who this was originally based on, a.k.a. Vlad, son of the dragon.
Okay.
As his family, that was their name. They kind of earned that title after siding with some particular people. But anyway, long story short, this is Vlad the Impaler. He got this nickname, we'll find out shortly. Was a prince of Wallachia, born in 1431, died 1476. As the base for what we know as vampires today. Spent much of his childhood in the care, and I use that lightly, of a sultan, Murad II. He was given to the sultan along with his younger brothers by their father, who used this as a way to gain trust with the Ottoman Empire.
Okay.
That is until the death of his father and older brothers at the hands of his own country's noblemen.
Oh my.
This would lead to a lifelong campaign to regain his father's seat. He gained the name Vlad the Impaler for his torture of his enemies. He would grease up large stakes and let them very slowly over the course of hours, let the body weight of his victims impale themselves. Now, while this happened, he would set up a table around all the dead bodies, like in the middle of a battlefield, and have a servant gather the blood from the dead, and to the music and suffering of death, he would eat dinner, dipping his bread in the blood of his enemies. So they would set up a giant table, and he would just eat dinner right after a very bloody battle.
That's pretty hardcore.
This is real.
Yeah.
This
dude actually did this.
This is the guy who inspired Dracula, and he did it justice.
This is where the blood drinking comes in.
Another true story. He once had a disagreement with some diplomats from the Ottoman Empire. They came to his castle to discuss peace, and when they got there, Vlad saw that they had their turbans on, and said, "This is a house of God. No man shall wear a hat here. As to do so says that you wish to hide your face from God Almighty." The diplomats told him they meant no offense, but their turbans are a part of their religion, and they could not take them off, and hope he would understand. So he had them killed, nailed their turbans to their heads, and had the bodies delivered to the empire as a warning to all who refused to honor the true God under his roof.
Well, that's not very cash money.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the Ottoman Empire sucked a lot, so I
think all of these guys just
any
suck.
excuse to kind of wreck these guys. Vlad, to me, came off as a really big anti-hero, where it was like his tactics and the things he did were awful, but they were in, most of the time, like, defense of an even greater evil. So you kind of do what you gotta do to get by. That doesn't make what he did right, but I see why it happened.
It was also just wartime in it. Which side is, like, most of the time in a war, like, war is just bad. Like,
yeah, I could go into detail about the things that the Ottoman Empire did that make them what I would say, like, truly heinous and evil people. But it would flag a lot of really bad warnings, and this is already gonna be really rough. Really rough. Now, he also made his own sword.
Okay.
A brand new design based on the scimitar. Called a killage. So this is a weighted scimitar that could one-handed fully cut cleanly through a fully grown pig with one swing.
I feel like I've seen them make this on Forged in Fire.
It is a very impressive weapon, and he learned how to, like, fight when he was in the Ottoman Empire. So because of this, he took a lot of their battle tactics and made them even more brutal and used them against the Ottoman Empire.
I'm going to take everything you taught me, and I'm going to use them against you.
Yes, he had no love at all for the Ottoman Empire.
For sure.
Now, this is also really interesting because he was quite a bit of a tactician, but it was savage and brutal, the things that he did.
Yeah.
So he helped design crossbows that could shoot straight through plate armor.
Oh.
And he
was smart.
Very smart.
Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows war better than anyone at this point.
Okay.
Like, he is great at using tactics, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but he's great at using tactics to his advantage. He was widely considered one of the best guerrilla fighters.
Okay.
Because he had a force much smaller.
But the things that he was able to do with that small force
were terrifying.
Okay.
Literally.
I mean, there's a reason he wanted to be feared. That's why he did a lot of the things that he did, right? Was because he wanted the fear. He wanted people to be afraid when he stepped on that battlefield.
Exactly. And just like, well, again, we'll kind of get into it, but the Ottoman Empire that bordered his lands had taken over nations.
Yeah.
And they were scared of Vlad.
So,
kind of impressive there.
Oh, yeah.
But he also made one of the world's first guns.
Oh.
It was a large spiked club with a small barrel at the top that you could fire one shot. And afterwards, you would use the spiked club to bash people with.
That's crazy.
A two-handed spiked club that again
shot one bullet.
Yep, one bullet. And then after, because they would hide and wait in ambush, everyone would fire off a round and then just charge in with this big two-handed club with a huge spike in the center of it just to penetrate armor.
That is incredible.
Insane. Like, truly insane.
Insane.
The crossbow was so sturdy, a fully grown man had to stand on it to reload it once. but it fully went through plate armor. So,
I mean,
effective. Brutal,
damn.
but effective.
Damn.
Now some said that Vlad had made a deal with the devil, that no man could be as brutal and savage as he was without some form of dark gift.
Uh-huh.
His tactics made people with armies 10 times the size of his cower in fear.
Okay.
Most people refused to fight him, and in one instance, he retreated from a fight and was not followed for long because there were thousands of people on spikes. Some still alive, screaming for the sweet release of death as he and his forces retreated. That was what their enemy got to see.
Oh! Okay.
It was also very commonplace for Vlad to leave these bodies impaled on the borders of his lands as a warning to anyone who would be stupid enough to fight him.
You're just like, oh, you want my land? You want it? Come and get it.
Come
bitch.
and get it. So that was that. This is the man who inspired the legend that has lived on till today of Count Dracula, one of the fiercest monsters we have ever seen in history.
Honestly, yeah, it tracks. It makes a lot of sense.
He had, like I said, he had siblings. He had an older brother. He had a father. And his father did trade him to the Empire, where atrocities happened to Vlad and his younger brothers. He fought for the throne multiple times and even got deposed 3 times.
Okay.
Again, gaining the throne. His younger brother, backed by the Ottoman Empire, even stood up to him and was eventually beaten by Vlad. Even with the full, backing of the Ottoman Empire, again, someone who had an army 10 to 30 times larger than him. He didn't really care.
I mean, it makes it, because you think about the vampire tropes. Super strength, super terrifying, drinks blood,
a lot of this, definitely.
Super speed.
They
Quiet as a night.
They couldn't explain how he was able to do it. He was so fierce and ferocious on the battlefield, and the things he managed to accomplish did seem superhuman.
They were like, this shouldn't be possible.
And for the most part, the funniest thing was, he did his best to discourage these rumors.
Yeah.
Because he, in his mind, was a man of God, and he would not be associated with the devil.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was Vlad Dracul, and he was, in his mind, a champion of the Lord.
Jesus gave me these powers, not the devil.
I have the power of Jesus and anime on my side. God and anime. But yeah, so he was a holy crusader in his own mind. He truly believed that he was an envoy, or an envoy of God. He expected people to respect the Christian God in his house, and if you did not, well,
insane.
That's on you, bud.
Some Old Testament shit right there.
Oh, very, very Old Testament. But we have a lot to kind of go through. So Vlad is awesome, and I think in summary, I really enjoy the character that he portrays.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was just a real person is insane to me. This random dude way back when that scared the crap out of so many people that they would not invade his lands. Is very interesting. But let's talk about a slightly less known historical figure.
Okay.
Now, you might have heard of her.
Yes.
This was Elizabeth Bathory.
Yes, Elizabeth Bathory!
A Hungarian countess who tortured and murdered hundreds of young women in the 16th and 17th centuries.
I have heard of her. She's a queen. I mean, she's a murderer who...
Well, we're going to get into that.
Tell me more.
Now, here's the thing. Vlad in Wallachia That's in Transylvania.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Bathory, her family controlled Transylvania.
Oh, interesting.
And her uncle was king of Poland.
Okay.
So her family had far too much political power.
Yeah.
Essentially.
She had some ties.
Now, the crazy thing is, like, she even married this extremely rich noble.
Yeah.
And ended up, like, inheriting his estates. There was a mysterious death.
Wow, really?
You know. Now, here's the thing. So, it just kept expanding, right? Like, she basically is living in a huge castle on an enormous estate at this point in time. She has a very wealthy husband with so much money that she doesn't know what to do with. Her whole family controls Transylvania, plus her uncle is the king of Poland. She's doing great.
Yeah.
She's doing great. Now, rumors of her cruelty began to surface in 1604. Though previous accounts of the murders of peasant women had been ignored, in 1609, claims that she had slain noble women attracted attention. Her cousin Gregory of Hungary was ordered by the king to go see if these rumors were true. It was determined that after interviewing all of the people that lived in the area around her estate, she had killed and tortured over 600 young women with the assistance of her servants. And on December 30th, 1609, Bathory and her servants were arrested. Her servants were put to trial, and 3 of them were killed in 1611. Now, although never tried, Bathory was confined to her castle, where she would stay until she died.
Oh, so they basically were like, she had too many connections to be, straight up
murdered like a peasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, send you to the guillotine.
Now, here's a bit of a crazy bit here.
Okay.
Finding any historical records of these women that she supposedly tortured and murdered, it's very difficult.
Oh, okay.
And, basically, the thought that her family may have fabricated all of this in order to seize her assets and her estate seems to be the more likely reason.
Oh, you think they made it up?
They made it all up.
I mean, 600 people is a lot of people for what, like 3-year time period?
It's a lot of women for this to have happened to.
Yeah.
And the whole problem here is that, nobles kind of fighting for status and wealth was a huge thing back then. And her husband had passed away.
Well,
so she was a pretty easy target.
Oh, yeah. But again, I guess my next question is, if they were trying to frame her to get her assets, why was she allowed to live in her house until she died?
Well, who knows how long that was.
When did she die?
No record, really.
Elizabeth Bathory.
Now, historically, this is all we know, and again, there was some thought that her family made up the charges so that they could take her fortune. However, rumors say that something odd started to happen around the old castle grounds. About 25 years after Bathory had supposedly died, but no one was exactly sure.
Okay.
People started seeing a beautiful woman wandering the estates at night, with fiery red hair and a body that was pale and more beautiful than anyone should be.
Oh, that's a vampire for sure.
Only ever was she seen at night, and each night a fog would start to slowly spread from the castle grounds, getting just a bit further, until one night, a girl went missing.
Oh?
No sign of struggle, or death, or anything. Just gone. Then, reports of laughter in the fog at night, as it crept ever closer to the villages and people's homes.
Okay.
More and more young women started disappearing. Each time, a new voice was added to the mists at night.
That's terrifying.
The sounds of ladies' voices started coming through clearly, beckoning their loved ones to come out of their houses at night. Whole families started disappearing. Calling out into the night by the voices of their daughters, sisters, mothers, and wives. Men had tried to go to the castle to find their lost loved ones, but most, didn't really come back.
Never came home.
Most of them went alone, however, and were stricken with grief.
So it's like, did they not come home, or...
And they were never seen again.
Okay.
Finally, a group of men accompanied by their local priest decided to venture into the castle during the day to see if they could find their lost loved ones.
Okay.
Inside Bathory's old room, there was no dust. Someone, or something, had been living here. They found a secret door hidden behind an old bookshelf that led down into a basement. Meat hooks and torture devices lined all the walls, and in the center, a huge clawfoot tub filled to the very top with fresh blood.
Oh!
Near this tub, an old leather-bound book. One of the men picked it up, and inside was a detailed contract Bathory had made with the devil. Bathory would gather the souls of young women, torture them, and offer these souls to hell. In return, if she bathed in the blood of these girls, she would receive immortality, and each of these girls' bodies would become the vessels for a demon under the control of Bathory. As the man read this aloud, everyone noticed something. It was raining. But they were inside. Altogether, the men turned their heads up to the ceiling to see the twisted faces of every girl that had gone missing. The eyes black and mouths open far too wide, dripping saliva past two long, too sharp teeth. Their hands and feet twisted backwards, clinging to the ceiling, and the last thing they saw before the secret door closed behind them was a long clawed hand slowly emerging from the tub.
Oh, that's spooky as hell. That's spooky.
Now again, here's the thing, the rumors of these happened.
Yes.
But back in that time, there was a lot of people that were moving, migrating, immigrating, just of leaving the old country. And so, but you see an old family house and it's abandoned, and all of a sudden the people you knew lived there are all gone.
Oh yeah, that becomes it's the same idea as, like, there's an abandoned house at the end of the street and it's definitely haunted.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make our neighborhood kids spend a night in there as a hazing ritual. Like, sometimes it's just people telling stories to have fun and not necessarily,
As I was writing this down and, like, reading the stories and the things that had happened, I felt so uncomfortable.
You're like, this is icky.
It felt too much like something was watching me. And I just, even with the sun coming up, because I did this very early in the morning, I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, you made the mistake of doing this, like, in the dark.
Yeah, I felt terrified. But, again, like, the rumors are rumors, and it's exactly that. There's no proof that any of this happened. We know that there is fear-mongering that goes on in the church, where it's repent or your soul shall go to the devil,
Right? Like, she made a deal with the devil, and then they're gonna eat your soul, so be a good girl.
Exactly. And again, it's also the idea that some of these young women might have just been leaving. They found a particular match and ended up, moving out of that town, so on and so forth. But the rumors still persisted, and supposedly you can even still go and visit the castle where Elizabeth Bathory was, and they have actually found hidden tunnels.
Would you visit that castle?
Fuck no.
I would so visit it. That would be so much fun.
No, it's like saying you want to go live in Vlad's castle. No.
I wouldn't want to live there, but I want to visit it.
Maybe, and this is a huge maybe, in broad daylight for a very, very small amount of time.
What about, like, in daylight as the sun's going down,
Fuck
you're
no.
leaving as it's getting a little dark?
Nope. Hell no.
This is my bread and butter. That sounds fun as hell.
And if we did, crucifix, holy water, all right, I would have a whole garland of garlic around my neck.
We're eating some garlic soup before that.
And we are eating garlic soup before we go, because hell to the no.
That sounds like so much fun. I would 1000% visit that.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Like, I've always been a big skeptic, but I've also always believed, why tempt fate? You know, like, that is such a that is such a horror movie trope of, like, oh, we're all gonna go to the vampire's old castle. Like, that's how the whole group gets eaten. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody's like, we're gonna go stay the night in a haunted castle, or we're gonna go see where Dracula slept. And it's like, oh my gosh, look, his coffin. Let's take selfies.
So what you're saying is that if we honeymoon over in, like, Europe area, when I'm planning the events, I just can't tell you that it's a haunted event until we get there, right?
If you were to lead me unknowingly into a haunted area, just know, if or when we die, you're getting an eternity of I told you so's.
What if, okay, we're not gonna die. Like, people do ghost tours. If we go on a ghost tour, you can't die on a ghost tour.
You know how many times I'm sure girls had the conversation to themselves in London of, Jack wouldn't be after us.
That's different. He was real, okay?
So was Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, except she wasn't a vampire. Maybe.
Says you. Oh my goodness. But yes, so a lot of people kind of put the ideas of it to people moved away, or they just kind of immigrated to different spots, so that's why those places weren't there. And, you know, tales obviously were spun by the local clergy of, like, oh, it's haunted, oh, there's terrible stuff, don't go there, Satan and his worshippers are there, etc., etc. So it just, you know, it was a very interesting idea, but in the end of the day, most people believe it to be, you know, exactly that, a hoax, and at worst, an innocent young woman who was imprisoned until her death.
Right, like, the stories are fun to think about, but realistically, like, I love ghosts and supernatural things, but it does become hard to wrap your mind around, like, oh yeah, vampires are real, werewolves are real, like, would that be cool? Maybe, but the idea of that being true gets a lot harder to rationalize.
Exactly.
Because it's just like, I feel like we've discovered so much, you know, but...
Especially in the social media era that we live in right now.
Right.
No one caught a vampire on tape. No one's caught a werewolf on tape, and it just got uploaded. You know, like, never happened really.
Right.
In the world of technology that we have, there is videotapes of almost anything you want to see. And videotapes of a lot of things you really don't want to see.
Right.
So it's...
Especially the more popular ones, I think. Like, werewolves and vampires are, like, have become such a mainstream sort of, like, trope. It's like, okay, if this was real, I feel like you'd kind of know.
You'd know about it. There would be evidence, there would be proof. And there's always, you know, like, the conspiracy of maybe there's a shadow government that's making sure all of this is covered up and no one knows about it because it might cause mass panic if people understood that werewolves or vampires or zombies or et cetera did exist.
We're just not going to enough, like, 90s themed nightclubs, I think.
You think specifically?
I think specifically we just don't go to nightclubs enough that are, like, in, like, the seedy part of town and, like, just are only lit by neon lights, and otherwise it's just darkness penetrating everywhere.
Right. Now, here's kind of a crazy thing that I did want to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
There are real-life diseases that kind of led to the idea of vampirism. It's wrong. It's extremely, like, crappy to just marginalize these people and, vilify them for having a genetic disorder. But it's true. So, like, for instance, albinoism.
Yeah.
Is a huge one, right?
The pale.
You're pale, you have red eyes, you look ethereal, you look different from everyone else, you have problems going out in the sun because your skin is not able to take the, like, UV. So it's a really hard process, and there's actually a whole bunch of legends and myths that arose from the idea that, like, people from Ireland, because, it's always rainy over there. You hardly ever see the sun. They're all so pale. They look different. So...
All Irishmen are vampires, but very specifically Twilight vampires.
I wish I took sunlight that well. I really do. If I could go out in the sun and never have to worry about burning,
sparkly.
That'd be great. And I was just sparkly, I would go everywhere with my shirt off. I would be like, the disco
witness
ball.
Me.
Witness me.
That's such a Leo thing to say.
Yep. I would 100% do that. 100%.
Oh, God.
But, so, things like albinoism, and there's other, like, very rare disorders, or, like, an aversion to garlic because you're allergic, or, there's a lot of things like that. It's also really funny because the little bit of researching that I did implies that one of the reasons people say that vampires cannot go on holy ground is because people of other religions were around at that time and they didn't want to go to church.
And so they used it as an excuse to be like, vampire!
You might be a vampire! Vampire!
That's so dumb.
It's extremely dumb. Like, it sucks so much to think that it was just used to vilify people who weren't the same religion as you.
Right.
But... that's the truth
That's
about
history.
things. That's history for you. It's not exactly the most accepting all the time. Or PC at the very least. But yeah, so that's Elizabeth Bathory. Whether she did do those terrible things or not is still to this day a mystery. Who knows? She might have, she might not have. That would be one of the fun things to learn at some point in time. Like, maybe if you pass away and get to learn all the secrets of the universe, that'd be a fun one.
Right.
Like, what happened to Elizabeth Bathory? What did she do?
That would be one of the people that, if they could come back for a day, could sit down and, like, have a conversation with them. I would do her. That would be interesting.
That would be extremely interesting. I would love to have conversations with a bunch of people from history, especially if it was in an environment where they couldn't hurt me.
Just in case you are a vampire, we're gonna talk through a, like, holy glass, and I'm gonna be wearing my garlic necklace.
Yeah, it's gonna be shatterproof glass. If I could get that, like, reinforced, stuff that they have in, like, prisons and things, that'd be sick. I want it thick. I also want her chained down.
Reinforced glass that is just a stained glass image of a crucifix.
Yeah, it's like a Hannibal Lecter thing, where she's, like, strapped to a bench with, like, a big mask on. She can still talk, but can't do terrible things to you.
And then what she tells you is that, I didn't murder anybody. This is kind of ridiculous.
And you're like, wow, that's crazy. Well, you're going to be gone after 24 hours, so... yeah, that would be so sad to find out that she didn't do anything. Now, vampires are sometimes mythical, but more commonly now seen as scientific, because that's the age we live in. You know, like, there was a lot of superstition and myth and stuff way back when, but now it's seen more as, like, a disease or an infection. So it's not supernatural, just an illness, something that can be caught and sometimes even treated. most commonly by killing the vampire who turned you.
Because that's a very scientific cure to a disease.
So scientific. If I kill the guy who gave me the flu, I'll feel better.
I'm gonna feel so good.
Yeah, it's just a Hunger Games situation during flu season. Of like everybody trying to find the main source of the guy who did it. And then
who was it?
That's why the flu does stop every year, because eventually that guy is found and
eventually
offed, and
we
then everybody feels better.
Back to the guy.
Yeah. So, it's like branches of a tree.
Exactly.
But there's always like the main tree itself. Yeah, so it's crazy, all the mythology and the crazy things that have come up about vampirism over the years. And like how it's spread, how it changes, etc., etc. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was also vampire weaknesses.
Okay.
Now, this is a thing that changes over the years, right? Sometimes it's silver, sometimes it's garlic, sometimes it's holy water, sometimes it's consecrated ground, sometimes it's a wooden stake through the heart, and that's the only way you can fully finish them off. But I think it's really funny because in popular culture, we have changed it so much.
Yeah, just like werewolves, it's gonna change depending on whose story is telling what thing, you know?
The way I always like to view monsters is it's completely fine for a monster to be bigger, stronger, and scarier than a normal human being. To have supernatural powers, to just be crazy.
Yeah.
But the more bonuses you give them, the more weaknesses they have to have. That makes the most sense to me. Because it's a power balancing thing, in my opinion.
Right.
Like, if you want a vampire that's 10 times stronger than a normal human being, that's completely fine. If you want them to be able to fly, if you want them to be super fast, all that fun stuff, that's fine. I want to still feel like I have a chance.
And this is the Dungeon Master coming out.
And not even that. I just want, as a human being, I never want to feel completely powerless.
Right, like, oh, this dude just walked into your house and there's literally nothing at all that you could do even if you, like, this person is impossible to beat.
Yep, you're boned.
You're boned. You're mega boned. Even though, like, you're probably most likely mega boned anyways.
Yeah,
even with the weaknesses, you know, at least it's satisfying to be like, yeah, if you did break off the leg of your wooden chair, maybe there's a 0.001% chance you might get a good shot off on this guy.
Maybe you could do something about it. I love the fact that vampires are, by and far, way scarier than almost any other monster. Like zombies, werewolves, vampires kick their ass 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love werewolves. Super cool. Vampires are just stronger. Like, if you look at most of their comparisons, they're way more terrifying.
Okay.
But they also have, again, by far, the most weaknesses of almost anything. You know, zombies are probably the weakest.
Yeah.
But they have the fewest, like, vulnerabilities, too. So it's like, they can go out in daylight. They're fine with that. Like, they don't have to worry about any kind of, like, oh, silver weapons. Oh, you know, like, they don't care.
Right.
But they're also slow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, depending on the zombies.
Most of the time, they're slow. And even conventional weapons can destroy a zombie.
Oh, yeah. Like, you can get a zombie. It's like they're more durable than somebody normally would be. But, like, you can... there is a way to kill a zombie. With vampires, it's a lot of, like, okay, here are a lot of ways to deter them. And then there's these, like, 3 things that will actually do something.
Exactly. So, I think it's crazy because, again, like you said, a lot of what you do for vampires is deterrent.
So what are some of the deterrents? Because there's garlic.
So garlic is a deterrent. It's kind of like an extraordinary allergic reaction most of the time.
Yeah.
They can't stand to be anywhere near it. So it's very bad for them. Like, if you manage to get powdered garlic and go into a vampire's face, he's probably boned.
And that's why you always keep powdered garlic on you at all times, children.
Exactly. Pocket garlic.
Just
boom.
Garlic.
Done.
Just like
Victory.
You have pocket silver for werewolves.
Pocket silver for werewolves, but it has to be inherited, so... like...
It's a little difficult to grind it down after, and like...
Because again, werewolves are terrifying, right? Like, they have a bunch of problems too, but it's also like, what, they're scary one night of the week? Or of the month? Like,
Fair.
maybe some more, depending. But also, like, the only way to kill them originally was with inherited silver from a dead loved one, fired or used by someone who loved the werewolf. So, like, scary, but still.
So there's garlic.
Yes.
They can't be, you have to invite them into your home by traditional lore, right?
Yep.
There's also holy ground.
Yep.
And holy water.
And holy water. Any holy religious artifacts, which was very funny to me because this is something that changed over time. Obviously, there was a very Catholic idea to it where it's like crosses, crucifixions, that would help like stave off the vampires because they could not stand the sight of God. So it made their demonic forms feel bad, et cetera, burn in hellfire. They could not stand before the might of the Lord was the idea. Which is, again, why any kind of holy water, holy ground, crucifixes, that would work. But in later adaptations, it was any kind of religious iconography. So if you had a Star of David, that would work just as well as a crucifix.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool. I thought that was a very interesting idea. I've always loved the, like, connotation of, like, good and evil, and you have, like, different religions help you fight off these monsters because you have faith in a higher power. I think that's really cool. Because it does still feel like I get some kind of protection.
What if you have faith in yourself that you can do it? Does that count against a vampire?
Well, there are some really funny ideas that it's faith in a higher power.
Okay.
So you cannot have faith in yourself to do it. But maybe you believe in something else. Maybe you believe in the Force. From Star Wars.
What if I believed in just, like, Mickey Mouse as a corporation? Could I throw, like, a Winnie the Pooh stuffy at them?
If you truly believe that is something that will protect you and keep you safe, it might work. There's even stories of people using, like, beloved, like, stuffed animals and stuff as a ward or a talisman to keep these undead at bay.
That's cool as hell.
Because having this teddy bear was the thing that protected you. This was the thing that kept you safe.
Okay, that's adorable.
It's really cool. Like, it's rosaries, it's your faith in God, it's your faith in a higher power, it's your faith in something to keep you safe. And that's all that it needs.
I hold my selenite crystal very close.
Crystal girlies might work, Take that tower and stab that vampire.
Oh my gosh, stabbing that is the movie I want to see. The modern day witch slaying vampires with her crystal towers.
That would be I'd watch that movie.
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
But yes, you're very correct. Like, there are those weaknesses, and again, a stake through the heart used to be one of them. That would actually kill a vampire.
Silver, not so much, or
in some of the newer stuff, again, it's the idea that silver is a pure metal. It's a holy religious thing,
right.
So it's very possible to end the life of a vampire with silver. Blade. Like, the whole Blade franchise was all about using silver to kill vampires. So...
What about fire? Was fire one?
Fire does, again, because it is considered a holy cleansing flame. And fire was given to man to ward off the darkness.
I feel like the biggest one, though, is probably sunlight.
Yep.
Like, whenever you see a vampire movie, even to this day, it's like, I have no way to kill them, so I guess I gotta outlast them till the sun comes up.
Yep, I can't do anything, so the only thing I can do is just kind of sit in this house. Now, here's the crazy thing to me, and I think this is kind of nuts in a way, but makes a lot of sense. Let's say you're a vampire. And you're after some dude. Right? And he runs into his house. And he doesn't invite you in. Well, you might not be able to go in, but you know what you can do? Burn down his freaking house. There is nothing stopping you from causing, like, physical mayhem to the house itself. So the idea that you're fully safe from vampires, or what's to say you don't just open up with a minigun?
Right?
Or something like that into the dude's house, because you're probably going to get him. He's just human.
And they never show that. It's always just the vampire standing outside of the window being like, let me It's like, you have been alive for how long?
Yeah.
Millennia? And you're telling me you don't know what a lighter is?
Yeah, asbestos, my friend. It's still in a bunch of buildings. Just, there you go. I don't even know if asbestos is actually flammable, but you know what I mean. It's a Molotov.
Uh-huh.
Just get a bottle of whiskey and a regular bar towel. There you go. You're good to go.
Collect a jar of spiders and let it loose on a window. Like, that's gonna be enough to flush anybody out.
Right? There's so much stuff that you could do to just get them out of there. I don't understand, to be honest, why it's such a big thing. But that's also depending on where you're living. Depending on how determined the vampire is. Because it might just be like, maybe you live in an apartment complex, and if you live in that apartment complex, well, maybe that vampire doesn't want to, like, cause a bunch of ruckus and get a bunch of humans looking at them. So that makes more sense. But if you live out in the middle of plum tuck nowhere, in some little farmhouse, yeah, why not? Set that ablaze.
Burn it down.
But yes, I have always thought that was kind of a thing that needed to be represented more. Is just like, yes, this is something that can be used to ward off and or stop vampires. But it's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
It's not the thing that's going to always work every single time and never stop, always stop them. But I kind of hate some of the modern renditions of vampires.
Okay, like which ones?
Twilight.
What?
I really hate the idea of Twilight because they have all of the benefits with no downsides.
They even have magical powers.
They even have like magical, I can read your thoughts, or I can stop time, or I can do this, or I can see into the future. And it's like, okay, so not only are they unstoppable, but you've also given them even more crazy stuff that they can do.
Well, you can rip them limb from limb and then light them on fire.
Which is so doable when they can crush boulders with their thighs.
The look you did.
So doable.
Don't come at Emmett that way.
It's so great that they can't run faster than cars. Or even human reaction time would be so useful against somebody like that. Yeah. And that's without the ability to read people's minds or see the future or, start fires with your brain because you want to. I think the whole idea of Twilight was just, and it's like, oh, well, it's okay because we have werewolves that are defending us. I don't care.
Hey, you're coming after a big audience here, buddy.
I am coming after a big audience. Do better. Okay, if you're gonna have a monster, there's gotta be a weakness to it. It's not just all monsters can do everything that they want and there's no problem about it. Give the little guy a chance, at least. Come on, guys. I know I'm just a weak little human. But come on. Give me the opportunity to fight back at the very least.
Okay, what's your favorite form of vampire media that you've seen then?
My favorite form of vampire media is probably the Dresden Files.
Okay.
The reason I enjoy the Dresden Files so much is because I think they do a very good job of having a variation of vampires, but it's still the same base concept, right?
Yeah.
The stronger the vampire is, the more weaknesses it has. The weaker the vampire is, the less vulnerabilities it has. Which makes sense to me. I connect on that level. I understand that so much, and it feels, again, like you have a chance as a normal human. Because what's stopping the vampires from just taking over the world at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, if sunlight is a weakness, if you have to worry about this or that. I still, to this day, don't understand why the vampires in the Twilight universe have not just taken over everything. Like, there's no reason that they don't march up to the White House and be like, sup, bitches?
Right, especially when, like... It's exactly that. It's like they could just run everything. There's really not a lot of things stopping them.
No, bullets don't affect them. Like, our military would be useless. Maybe you could blow them up, but they're so fast you're never going to get the shot off before they're out.
Do you know why the Twilight vampires haven't just taken over the whole universe?
Why?
Because the plot point is the romance and not the actual story of the world.
Mm-hmm. Which brings me to another really great point in, like, media. I hate the trope so much that there is a 600-year-old vampire
dating like a teenager.
dating a teenager. I want the story of the 600-year-old vampire dating a like 98-year-old lady.
Oh my god, that'd be so lovely. Even I'll take like 35 plus, just because you have to think about the fact that this is also like they look young, you know? And so it would be weird if it's like, oh, I was turned into a vampire when I was 19, you know?
Yeah. I don't even want it to be about physical.
Oh no.
I want them to be in a relationship like 95-year-old people are in a relationship. I want it to be like, oh, we sit out on the porch and we talk about how life used to be.
Oh, 1000%. But what I'm saying is if it's 35 plus, that gives you like some legal room where it's like, oh, this is still an adult, but like they're not 98.
It is still robbing the cradle at 98.
It's still robbing the cradle at 98, but imagine how depressing that is for the vampire.
Yeah.
Where it's like already everybody that they know and love is going to die one day, and then the person that you know and love is only ever going to live for another like 3 years maybe.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so I think it's also crazy because over time, what do you think of as like a vampire?
So because that's the thing, is that like, and that's part of the reason why I really do enjoy vampires as a concept, is that there's different kinds of vampires.
Very broad.
Like, it's very broad. Because I feel like whenever I see the more powerful ones, because this was a weakness we never talked about, there's like the Nosferatu style vampires who are crazy powerful, but they're a monster. They look monstrous. They have the pointed ears and the emaciated bodies and like the physical, like they look dead and mutilated and wrong, but they are crazy powerful.
Super strong.
I love that idea where it's like, oh, this is a monster, and then you have like this super hot vampire who's like, I am going to nightclubs and I'm prowling on the nightlife, and the guy that I'm taking home with me or the girl that I'm taking home with me is just a juice box. This is my juice box of the night.
Yep.
I also love the idea of like a vigilante vampire where it's like, I only eat rapists and murderers, that sort of thing, where it's like, oh, I caught you being a bad person, you're gonna be my snack now. But I do think of that, like the night prowler out at night, can't handle the sunlight. I don't necessarily, unless it's like that Nosferatu vampire, I don't care if they have an aversion to garlic or not. I think the concept of they have to be invited inside is a really fun idea. So I really like that, like the having to be invited inside, but I like the aversion to sun and the, I don't know, just like the typical, like, I don't always love vampires with like magical abilities. I much prefer like super speed, super strong, that sort of thing, over like, I'm gonna tell you what to do with my mind,
What an interesting concept. So you're very right. Like, the modern idea of vampires is generally super speed, super strength, incredible durability. Like, they can literally get hit by cars and walk away completely fine. Extremely fast regeneration is another big thing about there.
Yeah, regeneration.
Where it's like, oh, got my arm cut off, and 2 seconds later it's back. All right, you're boned, dude. But now, since there are so many different kinds of vampires, one of the biggest distinctions is some feed on blood. However, others feed on emotions.
Yes, I have heard of like energy vampires or
psychic vampires. Yes. Now there are lots of like fears, like Dampiers.
Yeah.
Which is a half vampire. So Blade is considered a Dampier.
Yeah.
Because he's not an actual vampire.
Yeah, he's a halfsy.
He has a lot of the benefits with very few weaknesses of vampires. So he's got the speed, he's got the strength, he's got the durability, but he doesn't have the aversion to sunlight. He's fine with garlic. He can do all this stuff. He's just completely okay. Now in Blade's case, he has the thirst, and that happens a lot with Dampiers. Is as a half vampire, a lot of times the idea is you weren't fully changed, so you get some perks. But there is the idea that if you murder an innocent person and feed on them, you become a full vampire, and at that point you are a monster.
Yeah.
Now some even feed on life force or chi, if you will, sucking away your youth. All cultures around the world have them, and they're used to explain all kinds of stuff like, oh, woke up feeling weak, probably getting fed on by a vampire in your sleep. Been feeling depressed, one of your coworkers might be an energy vampire, etc., etc., etc. But the idea that vampires have existed, it's not always that they have to drink your blood.
Yeah.
It's that they have to somehow siphon your life force to keep them alive.
Right.
So even in the case of Elizabeth Bathory, her big thing wasn't she was drinking blood, it was she was bathing in the blood of innocent young women, which kept her alive and revitalized. Same concept, different,
So we're saying is every single narcissist out there is just a vampire.
What an interesting thought. What a very interesting thought. I mean, in this way, succubi are actually considered to be a subclass of vampire as they feed off the sexual urges and life forces of people.
Okay.
Now, this is kind of an interesting idea because it goes along the same idea as the psychic vampire.
Yeah.
Some vampires feed off fear or, envy or self-loathing, depression. Some of it's like almost always a negative influence, but it exists, and it is a very scary thought that one of the reasons you might be depressed is because something or someone around you is enhancing those emotions and making you feel sad.
See, if there is one thing I could believe in that might actually exist in real life, it is energy vampires. Because there are those people that just feel like they suck it out of you. And to picture be like, hey, maybe they're just like an actual mythical creature who sustain themselves off of your torment. I can see that. Mm-hmm. And that's the easiest thing to hide too. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't even know it.
It might be your best friend.
Uh-huh.
Who's acting like they're, oh, it's okay, buddy, things will get better, and they're just, that is such a terrifying experience and a terrifying thought. But in most cases, being turned into a vampire is generally considered a bad thing as you lose your soul or free will and become a monster.
But do you become hot?
Oh, no. The vanity. Strong with this one. However, it might just make you beholden to your sire. Now, a sire is generally considered the vampire who turned you. So, most of the time, every vampire has somebody who they're kind of their lickspittle. Because if I turn you into a vampire, you are beholden to me, and I have power over you.
Yeah.
If you turn me into a vampire, same thing, but then it's generation line after line after line after line. So let's say Tom turns Harry. Well, Harry turns Sally. Well, Tom and Harry have effects over Sally. Because they are higher up in the chain of siring.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting concept and idea. Now, most of the time when there's the sire thing, you're mostly beholden to yourself.
Yeah.
So you are still a vampire and you still have the thirst and other problems and stuff, but your mentality doesn't change. You still know what right and wrong is. You still go about your life trying to make sure that you uphold what you did when you were not a vampire, unless you are actively forced to do something by your sire. Because they generally have that control over you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think it would be that bad of an existence.
There comes the problem, because if you are going off of the basis that you have to drink blood to survive, you have to drink human blood to survive. Just let's say that that's the basic vampire. If you're a good person and you retain that moral compass, I feel like it's going to be a lot harder to survive as a vampire. Yeah, you could go after bad people, but the idea of being I try to live my life in a good way. I try not to hurt people. I try not to do any harm. inherently having the task of like, okay, well now you have to learn to survive while drinking humans' blood, feels like that becomes a lot more of a predicament.
And I have seen this done in a few ways, right? Because it's always the question of, do I have to kill people? Because that's what makes you a monster,
right? It's like, can we do a little consensual sucky here?
Like, and there's been a couple ways I've seen this done. One, they feed off animals, which is no different, in my opinion, than eating meat.
Oh yeah, no,
Some people would have a big problem with that, but in my opinion, if you're drinking blood from a cow to keep yourself alive, meh.
Again, I feel like it sucks a lot more for the people who are like, oh, I would never kill my own food, but I would go to a grocery store. You can't go to a grocery store and be like, hey, can you just give me your blood?
Well, that brings me to the second thing.
Oh?
Which is, it doesn't necessarily always have to be from a living source.
Uh-huh.
And there's been plenty of stories about people, vampires drinking, like, cow's blood from a butcher.
Okay.
And so, the butcher just throws that out.
Yeah.
There's no use for it. But if you're like, hey, I'll pay you if you give me a couple gallons of cow's blood every, few weeks. And then you just take that home and you chug on that. But obviously, that's if you have the ability to do that. Sometimes it has to be a live victim for it to work. Sometimes it has to be human, can't be animal. And a lot of times it's portrayed with a negative, right? Because it's not always like, oh yeah, I can just feed off cows and there's no moral ramification to this at all. It's, I don't want to eat animals because doing that just tastes awful. It doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be doing it. I can technically live off of this, but I don't enjoy doing it. And there's also the idea that you might go to a blood bank. Or you have people in your life who donate blood to you, like your friends or your family members or etc., because that's the thing that keeps you alive, so...
Right, like, if your friends knew, it's like, hey, this is my vampire friend. Well, I mean, that's also, like, I feel like that's the hot way they portray vampires, where it's like, there's, like, this one vampire who has, like, a den of bitches who are just like, yeah, suck my blood,
yeah, blood slaves.
And then they, like, sit there and drink their apple juice in between feedings.
Yep.
And
a lot of times, because it's the dark thing, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see just, like, a slice of life.
Oh my god, yes.
Thing where it's like one of the members of a friend group is a vampire. And they all consensually like have little donation parties.
Maybe
where they
one
get
of the
together,
friends
like, once
is
a
even
week.
a nurse. Like
Exactly, and they just do a blood draw of like, all right, and it's like, oh, thanks guys, I really appreciate it, and oh, it's fine, Tony, no big deal, like,
happy to help.
I gave blood before I met you, so like this is basically just the same thing.
Except now you know where it goes.
Yeah, now I know where it goes, so we're good to go.
Your friends start to have arguments over like, no, I taste better. No, Tony, tell him.
Yeah,
tell him whose blood tastes better.
With that, we're gonna end our episode. Appreciate you all listening. Thank you so much, and we will see you all again in the finale, which you're about ready to record. So, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, merry travelers.